Alright, so in this video we're going to be going over the question 1 from the free response questions asked on the 2014 AP Computer Science exam. Um, question 1 deals with strings and your ability to manipulate strings. It asks you to complete two methods, and as is often going to be the case, the second method depends on the first method. However, as always will be the case, the AP test will allow you to complete the second method, assuming that you have the first one right, even if you don't. So in the first question, you're asked to create this method called scramble word, and we're just going to create a public static string scramble word, and this method is going to take a string parameter word. Now, the idea of this method is if it encounters an A followed by a letter that's not an A, it will flip that sequence of letters, and otherwise it will just keep the sequence of letters the way it is in what it was sent over. So right away, because we know that the return type is a string, we should just create a string so that we can return something. String, and we'll call it result so that we remember what it is. Then we're going to use a while loop in this method implementation because we want a more kind of intentional control over the method by which the loop progresses, because there are a couple interesting cases, or at least one interesting case, or things to think about anyway. So int, we're going to say index equals, and we're going to start at the beginning of the word. Then we're going to use a while loop, while index is less than the word's length, word.length. Then we're actually going to do word.length minus 1, because we're going to test the current letter against the next letter. While the index is less than word.length minus 1, we're going to grab the current character and test it against the subsequent character. So let's just create two strings. String letter 1, letter 1, and we use substring word.substring and index, and we want to grab the index up until we want it to stop. So we want it to just grab a single character, and you do that by just using the substring with adding 1 to the value of whatever letter you want, the index of the letter you want. And then we want the next letter, string letter 2, equals word.substring, and this one is going to be index plus 1, and we want to go until index plus 2. Now we're going to be able to do our checks. So we want to check if letter 1 dot equals A, but we don't want to flip the letters if the second letter is A also, because that will screw us up later on. So we want to say and if letter 2, then not if letter 2 dot equals A. Then we want to perform or add the results in the flipped order to our result. So we say result plus equals, and this is string concatenation, plus equals letter 2 first, because we're going to swap them, plus letter 1. And then we want to increment our counter variable, so we say index plus equals 2, because we want to skip over this sequence now, because if we flip it a second time, if we go, because what we don't want to do is push the A all the way to the end of the word, because if you flip it, then letter 1, which was the A, is now up one index. So if we just do index plus 1, the next time we go through, it's going to be, oh yeah, there's another A, and it's going to keep flipping it and flipping it and flipping it. So we want to skip over that now that it's been flipped. We want to say if we didn't find a match or a flip, we want to just add the current letter, result plus equals letter 1, and index, we just want to increment 1, because we want to go on to the next thing and do our next check. Then after the loop exits, this is an interesting case, kind of. You can imagine that in the case where we're worried about the penultimate case. What if there's an A second to the last letter? Then in our current loop, if there's an A at the second to the last letter, so say we pass over the word, say the word that's passed over is like ban, oops, all caps, ban. It will encounter an A on the penultimate letter, and it will flip those to, oh, in that case it's fine, but what if it's not? What if it's bin? It doesn't encounter an A here. It doesn't flip those two, which is good. But then it also only adds that letter, not anything additional, because we have it, the loop stopping at -1 so that we can accomplish the flip. So the idea is, if we pull out of this loop an index is less than the word length, we know we need to add one more letter. Otherwise, we're going to miss that letter. So we say the index. If the index is less than word.length, then we want to make sure we add result plus equals word dot substring, oops, substring, and we can just use the current index and go to the end of the word, because that'll just grab the last letter. Oh, I mean the index. I keep using, I flip all the time. And then finally, we want to just return the result. And that is it for question 1. There are other methods that you could use to accomplish this, for loops and whatnot. And as long as you handle all the edge cases correctly, it'll be graded in the same way. Okay, that's enough for this video.